Okay, everyone. So sorry to keep everyone waiting. I hope you guys are um, here ready to rock. I just need to find my folder here and get things ready to go. Okay, one more thing. So, um, so right now we're doing the best of West Michigan recap. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so sorry that we had to put this off yesterday. I was off Monday and Tuesday, so it really makes it difficult to play catch up on when you come into things on Wednesday. There's a lot to be had, a lot going. We had to get some video stuff shot for some product that's coming out, and that is something that kind of got in the way of what we were trying to do. So, without further ado, we'll do the best of West Michigan recap. This is just a recap on kind of some of the direction to take with the next photo challenge. So we would normally have done this on Monday or Tuesday, along with the follow-up for the Lighthouse photo challenge. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to recap some of those images for the best of West Michigan next week on Monday. So without further ado, I will go ahead and kind of share my screen on the write-up here on the best of West Michigan. So the idea for this photo challenge is we've been working up and building our photo skills with these photo challenges from one week to the next, with just kind of challenging you on these certain things, and hopefully you guys have had the opportunity to really find and discover your photographic voice along the way, and that each of these write-ups that you've gotten and these critiques have been able to help kind of push you forward and help you see and visualize what you're going to shoot before you actually take the photo. So the first things first. I've just got the email pulled up. Brad is saying hello. Hello, Brad. I've also got Sandy saying hello. Hello, you guys. I'm glad that you guys are tuning in. Stay tuned for, like, immediately right after this, I've got another all the Lighthouse review images, and you guys have submitted a lot, so I'm really excited to bring those to you. So again, as I was saying, you know, the best of West Michigan and the best of Michigan, well, the latest one that'll be debuting tomorrow, is kind of the culmination of all of these photo challenges come together into one. At this point, you guys should have gotten a lot of information on how to, you know, look at the photographs, whether it's line, shape, color, composition, all these things, and you're really just kind of looking at things as a whole to create, you know, very compelling imagery. So first and foremost, the best of West Michigan photo tips. I'm really keeping these very broad and bland. I'm not really expounding on them and expanding because at this point we should already know what goes into a good photo. So the first and foremost is always inspiration. I always start with that. As far as the best of West Michigan, is always start with research. This will probably be the easiest part. As always, do the simple Google search. Look for West Michigan photos, West Michigan photography. You know, I looked up Michigan photography just to kind of keep it kind of broad and generic. What you could do is look up some of the best and well-founded photographers like Todd and Brad Reed. They are up in Ludington. They create very fantastic work. Since they are right there located in Ludington, that's a West Michigan town. If you look at the culmination of their work, or just a collection of their work over time, you're going to see a lot of great imagery from West Michigan to get inspiration to go create your own work. They've inspired me. In fact, I owed some of my images, like homage is what they call it, as to kind of point back towards them, because they inspired me to take that shot. I didn't create anything new. I'm really bouncing off of what they presented to me. So that is going to be the first thing that you guys are going to have. The second thing is tell a story. So photographs, you've probably heard the saying, a picture says 1,000 words. So the idea is when you're creating these images, and when I did the interview with Todd and Brad Reed last week, the biggest thing that they had to say was that, you know, Todd is trying to recreate an image and really recreate the emotion of the image. He says, if I can tap into that emotion, I can tap into the individual who's going to be viewing my work. And he says an image that has emotion or has that emotional connection behind it is going to resound more with the viewer and is going to be more compelling than just an image that I took it because it looked good. And that actually made me think about a lot of my work. Does my work lack emotion? Does it lack that connection to the viewer? And that's something very important. So the idea is tell a story. That's what images are. We're trying to tell a visual story. It's a visual narrative. So the most important thing is to be able to touch your viewers' hearts and minds. Photography is more than just simply tripping the shutter and creating an image. It's about telling that story. So when you're creating your images, make sure to capture the heart and soul of what you're photographing. Tell us the story that best captures West Michigan. So that's what we're trying to do here. Lighting is always a big thing. You guys probably hear me drone on and on about lighting and the best time of day to capture lighting. If you guys start looking at photographs, you'll start to be able to see the details in the images that make them successful, the attributes of the images. And when I was reviewing our photos with Kirk, doing the best of Michigan photos that are coming up tomorrow, I was actually able to tell, even though he might have said in his little recap of the image when he created it, I can tell that the light was taken on a morning versus an evening because of the quality of light. So the third thing to look for is lighting. Is always remember that photography means painting or drawing with light, and it's the key to every successful photograph. The quality of light is that key. The best light for creating memorable photography is found during the magic hour. Now those hours can either occur at sunrise, just after sunrise, or just before sunset. Those are the magic hours. I would encourage all of you fellow West Michigan photographers, when you're creating the best of West Michigan images, to shoot during these times. However, feel free to shoot anytime because you never know what you're going to get. Some images, actually, like the sun outside today, is very harsh light. There's soft light and hard light. Hard light will create very defined shadows like we get today. And soft light is going to be like an overcast day where the light is very spread out. And if you were to look on your shadow on the ground, instead of this hard outline, you're going to kind of see this soft, blotchy blob that is you being shadowed in the ground. There are different, I would encourage you to shoot at those different times of days because objects that you're shooting might look better with hard light or soft light or in the evening or in the morning. Be consciously aware of that when you're creating your images. Fourth here on the list is angles and perspective. I keep on saying this from week on and week out, guys. Everyone is used to seeing the world from a standing position. I'm all 5'8". If I always shoot from a standing position, that's the view everyone else is going to see. Whether they're, plus or minus a couple inches over me, we're all relatively seeing things from this perspective. Change that perspective. Get lower, get higher, shoot at an angle. Change the way that we see images. Present us imagery, present us a point of view that we don't typically get to see, because that will change the photo in total. It'll make it more interesting because we're seeing something, we're being presented something that we don't typically get to see, and that's powerful. Line, shape, and detail. These kind of break down to the compositional aspects of a photo. Lines will draw you into an image, whether they're horizontal, vertical, diagonal, curved. They all have different meanings, so they all invoke different thought processes. Lines can lead you from one point of the other, one point of the image to the other. They can create and imply movement. They influence your viewer's emotions. So remember the saying, "The devil's in the details." These are part of the details. If you come across any implied shapes, details, lines, play with them. Use them in your composition. Fill the frame. These elements are important because they influence the way your viewer perceives your photo. So use them intentionally to help us to see and read the story that you're trying to tell better. The sixth one is abstraction. So the biggest thing is it's nice to be able to see a photo and to be very forward with hey, here's a sunset. That's great. But if you can present us something that we don't know what it is, like you're so zoomed in that we're looking at the basic elements, maybe the shape, the color of an object, maybe just the texture, that's when you're starting to abstract something, and that's based upon artistic movements. You can look up abstract photography, and you'll get a lot of influence from that. but try your hand at that. You know, try to make it hard. You know, abstract photography should be something that when we look at it, we kind of say like, man, I wonder what that is. But you're giving enough clues that you're telling your viewer, oh, it's a fire hydrant. But you're looking at it in such a way that I really didn't know that at first, but after I looked at it closely, again, the devil in the details, you're able to tell that and extrapolate that from the photo. Finally, what I put here is color, along with line, shape, detail. Color plays a huge role in the human psyche. It draws us into your images. Use contrasting colors, bright colors, or no colors at all. You can do black and white. But remember that there's analogous colors and there's complementary colors. This is part of color theory. This influences how we see a photo. If you have a red balloon in a green, against a green canopy of treetops, that red balloon is going to stick out like a sore thumb, and it's going to make us look right at that green balloon. If we have a red M&M and a bunch of yellow M&Ms, that'll still stick out like a sore thumb, but those are closer to complementary colors because red is closer to yellow, whereas green is across from red, and those in the color wheel. So look at the color wheel, look up color theory, and this will help you to create better photography. So this is just kind of to wrap this up. I'll quickly go over some images that I captured that I feel are the best of West Michigan, just to kind of give you guys some inspirational things to look at. By the way, Chris is saying hi. Hi, Chris. I hope you're still tuning in. Stay tuned for afterwards because we're going to be recapping the lighthouse images, and I know some of your images are there. So looking forward to that. Quickly share my screen from Bridge. Hope you guys are having fun so far. And here we go. So this is, these are some of my images that I feel are the best of West Michigan. This is going to be Empire Bluffs. One of my favorite places to go. The water is just so, it's got like that cool Kool-Aid teal blue color. The deep blue's out. It was a cloudy day. Cloudy days are always great for landscapes. You know, I've got this nice curved line here that's leading you through the image. So you're kind of entering in, you're kind of going into the background. You can kind of see the island there, and it kind of leads you into the sky. We've got this nice tree that's weighted in the right side of the frame. I like to weight things in frames as far as, left weighted, right weighted, and this is definitely right weighted. We've got that tree, Todd and Brad Reed talk about triangles. I've got this triangle right here. And, if we kind of, there's almost in a triangle here with the water, if we kind of brought this point out into the oblivion here. But shapes are powerful, lines are powerful, and we've got a lot of that going for us where we've got that implied curved line going into the back. We've got this nice tree kind of anchoring us into the foreground. That's our subject. And we've got the sky here in the background. Moving along. Sorry, my computer wasn't cooperating there. We've got this. We've got one of my favorite shots of the Peter Marquette lighthouse, and I just love this little highlight of the setting sun here. It's a really contrasty, almost silhouetted image. I really love silhouettes. They're one of my favorite things to photograph. But my big thing is really just kind of these leading lines into the end of the pier. Boom, right smack dab in the middle. It's got this kind of look of symmetry because I'm splitting it right down the middle. It's pretty even on the left, pretty even on the right. There's some objects of interest on the left side. The clouds, again, add a lot of interest. And even up towards the top, we got these nice diagonal lines. Diagonal lines can signify movement. So we've got this implied movement moving through the photo. So even though the clouds are stationary where they are, these diagonal lines give us the feeling that there's movement even though we're kind of in this fixed position. Some of my favorite things to shoot are the night sky. So this is the Milky Way over Ludington, Michigan. Really just love the night sky. You can kind of see the detail in this shot. It's a little crunchy, that's from the noise, but when we go to a print, it's just a really nice clean image. I'm trying to use lines to my advantage here. So when I shoot my Milky Way shots, I'm trying to kind of make the Milky Way go into something. Here, not so much because I'm okay with just having the foreground just being the dunes that I'm in. I'm really making this more about the Milky Way at the angle. I wish it was more at a, left to right from top left corner to bottom right corner. It's close to that, but this is later in the year. When you shoot in the fall, the Milky Way starts to kind of tip up over time and become vertical and start to go the opposite way. So we're kind of almost to that near vertical. But one of my favorite shots, Mears, Michigan, with little Sable Point lights, with the Milky Way. Again, this is in the fall, so you can kind of see the Milky Way starting to tip this way. So that's something that you'll see. It's almost like a hand on the clock, guys. From spring, it goes from like near vertical, horizontal to start ticking up over the night, and sooner than later, it's just kind of going like this. So I'm kind of using it to kind of move from left to right, from the top right to the bottom left, or bottom left to top right, to create that movement in the background. So your eye is kind of moving through the back of the photo that way, but you're still anchoring into the foreground with the lighthouse. One of my favorite shots of West Michigan that I've captured. I've never been able to recreate this moment. The sun was just at that right position. We got these nice waves. We got these nice clouds up in the sky. And we've got these nice dune grass, like I call them amber waves of grain. They've just got that nice little highlight from the sun. And the grass is just lighting up. That's what they call side lighting. The side lighting is just highlighting the dune grass so nicely. And we just got this beautiful sunset to the left. And there's a lot of triangles going on here, guys. Even though if we try to make implied triangles, we've got this triangle wedge here. We got this triangle wedge here with the water. And the sky is, it's a good rule of thirds, because that bottom third is the foreground, that top third is the sky. So it's a really well composed photograph. And again, that's what you're trying to create with everything. Moving along, we got to watch the time because we got the other one. This is one of my other favorite shots. Got this, Sandy Bruce, if you're still watching, we went out with some Olympus photographers for one of our Olympus photo walks, I think back in 2017 or 2016, maybe even 2015. But a storm had just gone through. A lot of people did not do the photo walk because it had just got done raining, an hour before we were supposed to do this walk. There was only 5 of us. We decided we were still going to go because, hey, we're here, we're going to go. We might not get anything, we might get something. We walked down to the beach. I looked over at Sandy Bruce, who just started shooting with us, and I said, Sandy, you watch this sunset. In the next 5 minutes, the sky is going to light up like you've never seen before. And this is right out of the camera in sunset mode. I have not edited this photo. This was just a straight raw capture, straight JPEG capture using the landscape mode, using the sunset mode on an EM5 Mark II, and you just have this really beautiful sunset. Again, rule of thirds. Bottom third is the lake. Top 2/3 is the sky, because that's where a lot of the interest is that negative space up there in the top. Again, another shot with my Olympus in the evening. What I love about this shot is, again, the clouds always add a lot to your landscapes. You can kind of see that over these last 3 images. The clouds are just kind of the key to the images just being fun. We've got kind of this backlit, silhouetted lighthouse of Pere Marquette. There's a little bit of that side highlight coming from a different angle because the sun's over here to the left. And what I love is sometimes you just get the right kind of stuff happening in the foreground, that human element. And when we zoom way in on this image, we've got that guy and his dog sitting out at the end of the pier. Actually, it's just a guy. That's not a dog, but it looks like a bulldog. I forget that there's a placard out there. But there's this one guy who's just on the bench, and he's enjoying that sunset all to himself. And having a human element in your photos actually kind of humanizes the image entirely. You can not necessarily, you can't sympathize with that person or empathize, and you can, but what you're really doing is you're kind of putting yourself in his shoes, because you're a person just like he is, and you're out there by yourself, like putting yourself in his shoes, and you're imagining yourself enjoying that from his angle or his perspective. How is he viewing the world? So it kind of adds like this extra element to a photo. So I would encourage you to bring in humans to it. This is Frankfort, Michigan, Point Betsy, and just capturing the northern lights. Some of the times, they tell you, like, oh, you won't go out and get a good photo because of the weather, because something's not happening, or because they haven't predicted it. The northern lights weren't supposed to happen Thursday night. They were supposed to happen Friday and Saturday. And people were driving all the way up to the UP to go see the northern lights. We went up Thursday, and I just a hunch that if we go Thursday, we might catch it. It'll be the day before, so maybe we'll get a little glint of it. But we got the most of it. So my buddy Kenny and I were up there. And we got this great shot. I wish they were a little more pronounced, you know, that we got a little bit more of the streaky stuff going up into the sky, or just a little bit more grandiose. But you know what? It's the Northern Lights in West Michigan, and it only comes once in a blue moon. So you got to capture that when you can. Again, we're kind of using the rule of thirds, the you know, the small third in the front, top third in the of the sky, and we've got the lighthouse on the right. Just kind of that right weighted image again. One of my favorite shots in black and white, this is going to be PJ Hoffmeister State Park. I have a color version of this. I didn't like it. Changing it to black and white just makes it feel like really vintagey. It really makes it more interesting than the color one. The green, all the green took away from it. There was a weird kind of green color cast on the boardwalk. Changing it to black and white eliminates all the distraction of the color. Now we're just making about this canopy of the trees, right? So we're kind of forcing people into this vignette. And the light, the way the light is hitting the center, you know, we got these leading lines of the rail leading us into the back of the photo, but the vignette kind of keeps us in that area too. So we're kind of blocking people in and forcing them back into the background. And that's kind of what you want to do. We're kind of creating that movement that we're walking down the boardwalk and going up the stairs. And so we're kind of achieving some of these mental connections that, you know, when your brain sees something, it wants to complete the story. You're looking down the, you know, the boardwalk, and you want to walk through the boardwalk. One of my other favorites is the doing a star trail. This is a star trail in White Cloud, Michigan. It's always hard to kind of find where dark spots are. This is just running like a 40-minute exposure with my Sony or Canon camera, and this little highlight on the tree right here is actually like an accidental. I wanted to just do a silhouette against the sky, the starry lit sky, and really that's just that's from a car that just passed by, and it just put enough light on the tree to make it interesting, kind of stand out from the background. So that's what we've got there. Jason was saying that he went Friday to do the Northern Lights. He says, I went and got nothing. And that's kind of the thing. There were people who, I am one of my, I'll share one of my tips for the trips through the trade guys, is that if these people are wrong about the weather all the time. So I have always found that if you go the day before they're predicting they're going to be good, and you still go the days that they are going to be good, I always have felt that I have gotten the Northern Lights the day before they tell you it's going to be good. It's never failed. So that's kind of my little tip. I'll give that away. Sandy was saying it was such a beautiful sunset, and it was. It's just great. I'm thinking I'm up against this other one at 5 o'clock, so I'll try to quickly go through the rest of these images here. Looks like we're at the end already. Anyways, this is my last one. So we got the star trail. And that's kind of a high technique image, guys. You guys can all do this. I really set my camera, I think, to like f8 at ISO 100 and let it run for 40 minutes. And that kind of helps cut down on the burning out of the overexposure of the image. The Olympus camera system does it better because it has live comp, and it's just kind of going over the image without causing any overexposure. And this is where I'm really talking about the advantage of lines. You know, I've got this nice Milky Way set over a lake. I got a little bit of fog and mist over the lake. I got the reflection of the trees down here, some of the sky. This is the maybe Grand Rapids light pollution back here. But what we've got is this Milky Way, and what I'm trying to do is there's this light in the background, and I'm trying to line the Milky Way up with this light. Now, I didn't get the framing right early enough. I wish the Milky Way was still a little bit more to the left, but I just love, I mean, what I'm trying to do is create movement. I'm trying to use the Milky Way as a line, even though it's not like a line per se, like a hard line. It's this kind of implied line moving from top left to bottom right. And where does it lead you if you start at the top? It leads you right down to this light down at the bottom. Or if your eyes go straight to this light down at the bottom, you immediately want to get into the Milky Way and follow it up. And that's kind of the thing, is that you're just looking for these ways to move people through the photo. So once you get done moving through here, you know, sometimes my eye follows this little jet trail of like flying through the image this way. So I'm like, I cruise through, and then after I get done cruising through from left to right, I kind of land on the light in the background and then kind of move up to the top left. So I'm just kind of creating this movement with my eyes in the photo. And that's something that can be very successful, is just, again, kind of creating that movement. Mike Dixon has a really funny line here. I love it. He says, I'm walking Northern Light repellent. So just newsflash, guys, if Mike Dixon invites you to go out and watch the Northern Lights, don't take them with you. I think that's what you're telling us, Mike, right? Is that you're a bad luck charm for Northern Lights? Just don't do it. Maybe, Mike, maybe you haven't took the right person with you to make it happen, right? Maybe the magic will come to you after you get the right person to go with you. And you'll be Magic Mike after that. I think you'll have luck after this, Mike. I think you will. He's saying, yep. Rob Royce, the day before makes sense. The date listed starts at midnight. And that's kind of the thing is, they always say Friday, and that might be like Friday during the day. Is it Thursday night into Friday? That's always the tricky thing. Is it like Thursday sunset from 9 to that midnight? And I still kind of consider that Thursday night, but they always kind of like, oh, Friday, Saturday night. But is it Thursday into Friday morning, Friday night into Saturday morning? It's always one of those tricky things. So, Rob, I think I agree with you in that. But it was funny because, it's always, again, guys, I always feel this way. I feel very strongly about this. I always feel the Northern Lights are always stronger a day before they kind of anticipate it being the strongest. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go out the other nights. Always take the shot. If you have the opportunity, take the shot. We've got a lot of cloud cover in West Michigan, so it makes it really difficult to get the shots that we want because of cloudy weather. And a lot of you guys have done a lot of great shots, well, Mike Dixon included, and Jason himself, of the Comet. Chris, I think I've seen some of I think you've shot the Comet. I'm not sure if I recall right, but I know between Mike and Jason, you guys have done a really good job capturing the Comet, and a lot better than I have. I went up to Frankfurt, and it was just kind of like, I wasn't all impressed. I was actually more satisfied shooting the Milky Way than I was shooting the Comet, and I don't know why. It was just kind of like, for me, even though it's cool, it was just kind of like, eh. And then the other thing is, it's and I should say this, out loud too. Don't let what someone else is doing bring you down as far as photography goes. Don't let it discourage you from taking the shot of going out and creating your work. And this is what I'm going to say now for my own personal feelings. This is something that Mike Dixon, Jason Helmer, Jeremy Church, I could go on and on with the photographers who have shot the Comet and just captured it better than I have. Don't let someone else's work discourage you from creating work. Let that be something that urges you to compete in a positive way, to go say, I want to go create a compelling image just as good as theirs. Not to necessarily copy it, but just go to, like, I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to do it better. But do it for yourself, right? And that's something that I would encourage you to do. I was just more content on shooting Point Betsy with the Milky Way, because the Milky Way was really kicking strong the night I was out. The Comet was nice, and it was cool to kind of put in the photo, but I just didn't get it lined up right. I ran into Walter Elliott that night, and he was in Frankfurt. He's like, it's not lining up where I want it to be. I'm going to go to Manistee. I'll see you guys later. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. Like, when you can plan in your head, like, how you're going to see an image in your head, like, I'm imagining it. Here's the Comet. This is where it's going to be if I go here and I shoot from this angle and I line up these things. I could see in his mind how he was lining that up. Like, I'm going to Manistee to shoot from the South Pier to line everything up against the North Pier. Okay, I can see it. You're going to make it work. It's going to happen. And the other thing, I told him, I said, my plan is to capture the Comet here from this angle. And he goes, yeah, that's probably going to be a good angle. Now, did I try that? No, I didn't. I think the Comet was too low in the sky by the time I got to Point Betsy. But I did something similar, and I'm just not happy with the image. And I think that's my lack of interest in the foreground. My buddy who was with me, he got a shot that is pretty interesting that I like. But that's the thing, is that there will always be someone out there who will do it better. But don't let that discouraging you from doing it at all. And that's kind of the part to all these Facebook photo challenges, guys, is it's to build your confidence in shooting. It's to build your skill and craft in being a photographer. So that being said, I have to close this Facebook Live out, because in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to do the Lighthouse recap for all you guys who missed that. And I'm going to see you guys in here in 5 minutes. So if you're watching now, stick around. I'm going to be back in 5 minutes after this important break. Before I go, Jason said, ask questions to photographers to help better yourself at photography, and he's right. I like to go out with people and shoot, and when I'm with them, like my buddy Michael goes out with me, and he asks me questions. And it's good to go out with people who are your peers, who you admire, who you want to shoot with, who you enjoy shooting with, and you can learn something from. So find those people. The whole point of doing this too is to build a photo community. That's why we had the Facebook photo meetup group. That's why there's groups like West Michigan Photography, Photography World. It's an opportunity to network, find friends, and find people that you can go enjoy shooting and creating imagery with. So that being said, y'all, I got a jet. I'm going to get myself a quick break before we break into the Lighthouse photo review and recap. And Sandy says, I ask a lot of questions, and she says, thanks all. And that's okay. It's good to ask questions because it means that you're not afraid. You won't look stupid. I mean, someone who asks questions, like, that's actually smart. If you're in a room and you don't know how to do something, you're all going to look something special if nobody asks any questions, and then you kind of look at each other like, so what are we doing again? Whereas that one person who asked for clarification is going to perform a lot better than the person who didn't ask. So do that because you guys will be better off for it. So that being said, give myself 10 minutes, guys. I'll be right back with your Lighthouse photo challenge recap. That'll close out the evening. So we'll see you guys in a bit. In the meantime, take care.